What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Edge Over Action. Today we have a full 15 game MLB slate, but you already know the rule here. We're not trying to bet every game, we're not trying to chase action. We're scanning the board, finding the games worth studying, running the model, stress testing the results, and then making one clean decision: better pass. Let's do a quick recap of yesterday's slate. Yesterday we went 2 and 3. Phillies money line got there against the Mets. Yankees and Red Sox under 8.5 also cashed, but Brewers first 5 money line lost. Astros and Tigers first 5 under 5 lost, and Pirates first 5 money line against the Reds also lost. Marlins and Cardinals we passed on. Diamondbacks and Rays we passed on. Mariners and Guardians were also a pass. The point of this recap isn't to celebrate wins or tilt over losses. The point is to track the process honestly. A 2-3 day is not a reason to chase, it's not a reason to raise units, and it's not a reason to force 5 bets today. At Edge Over Action, yesterday gets logged, reviewed, and today we just start at 0, so we just keep moving on. Before we get into it, quick reminder, I am not responsible for any losses. This channel is for sports betting education, analysis, and entertainment purposes. Bet responsibly, manage your bankroll, and never bet money you cannot afford to lose. Also, if you like disciplined sports betting breakdowns, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and help us keep building Edge Over Action. All right, we're going to do our pregame scan. We're going to quickly go through every single game on today's slate. Very, very quickly, we'll have probably one note as to why it stands out. And towards the end of the video, I will give you a couple of games that I am looking at a lot closer. So first on today's slate, we have Reds at Pirates. Why it's worth looking into. Biggest weather market combination on the slate. RotoWire shows 70% rain at first pitch in Pittsburgh, with rain risk still 77% 1 hour after scheduled start, then 69% the following hour. That creates starter interruption risk, bullpen chaos, and danger for full game markets. Pitching and market note: MLB lists Chase Burns 9.1, 2 ERA versus Jared Jones 1-1, 5.75 ERA, but covers shows the game still close to pick'em, with Cincinnati opening around -112 and sitting roughly -116 to -127 across books. That is a possible "why isn't this stronger" market question. Next, we got Phillies at Mets. Why it's worth looking into. This is the weirdest price profile on the slate. The Phillies are 46 wins, 36 losses. The Mets are 34 wins, 48 losses. Yet the market has the Mets favored around -31 to -43, 143, after opening around -135. That screams investigation, not action. Pitching note: MLB lists Alan Rangel 0 wins, 0 losses, 2.25 ERA for Philadelphia against Christian Scott, 2 wins, 0 losses, 3.1 ERA for New York Mets. This looks like the market is respecting the Mets starter home spot more than team record. Needs more public and money information. Weather note: Citi Field is not a major delay risk, but RotoWire shows 79 degrees Fahrenheit, 20% precipitation, 6 miles per hour wind right to left. Mild, but still worth checking for totals. Right to left usually means low totals. All right, Braves at Giants. Why it's worth looking into. Oracle Park has the strongest wind angle of the slate. RotoWire shows 61 degrees Fahrenheit, 0% rain, 17 mile per hour winds blowing out. That's something to note. With hourly wind holding 17 to 18 miles per hour out, Oracle is usually pitcher friendly, so outblowing wind this strong deserves total and home run environment attention. Pitching market note: MLB lists Bryce Elder 5 wins, 5 losses, 3.71 ERA versus Logan Webb 4 wins, 5 losses, 3.35 ERA, and covers has San Francisco favored around -29. Now mostly covers has San Francisco favored around -129. Opened, now it's mostly -130 to -143. The Giants' price makes sense from Webb home and being at home park, but the win and Atlanta bullpen news complicated. Bullpen note: Atlanta placed high leverage reliever Robert Suarez on the IL and with forearm tightness. He had a 0.56 ERA and 4 saves in 31 appearances. That matters for full game Braves exposure. Next game, we've got Diamondbacks at Rays. Why it's worth looking into. Suspicious line movement. Covers open this around Rays minus 174, Diamondbacks plus 156, but current numbers are closer to Rays minus 148 to minus 161, Diamondbacks plus 120 to plus 134. That's meaningful buyback towards Arizona despite Tampa having the better record. Next game, we've got Royals at White Sox. Why it's worth looking into. Extreme recency trap. Chicago has just beat Kansas City 22-1 with 23 hits, including a 10-run third inning. That can create public overreaction toward the White Sox or emotional buyback on Kansas City. Pitching market note, MLB lists Michael Wacha, 5 wins, 5 losses, 3.48 ERA versus Davis Martin, 9 wins, 3 losses, 3.18 ERA, and covers has the White Sox opening around minus 137, now mostly minus 143 to minus 161. The White Sox are favored for a reason, but after a 22-run game, market inflation trap risk is real. Weather note, Rate Field has 13 mile-per-hour wind left to right with almost no rain, so this is less about delay and more about lineup, bullpen, and market psychology. Next game, Brewers and Cubs. Why it's worth looking into, starter mismatch. Division game, a favorite price question. MLB lists David Peterson, 3 wins, 6 losses, 6.09 ERA against Kyle Harrison, 8 wins, 1 loss, 2.5 ERA. Covers open Milwaukee around minus 157, and current books are mostly minus 161 to minus 179. Market note, Milwaukee just beat Cubs 6-2, and Reuters notes Jacob Mizorowski maintained his league best ERA in Friday's win. This can create Brewers' tax on a team already priced like the better side. Next game, Dodgers at Padres. Why it's worth looking into, expensive Dodgers road favorite in a division game. MLB lists Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 7 wins, 5 losses, 2.65 ERA versus Randy Vasquez, 6 wins, 5 losses, 4.17 ERA, and covers open Dodgers around minus 188, now showing mostly minus 191 to minus 122, or minus 191 to minus 222, which is a big price range movement. Weather note, Petco shows 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 3% rain, 8 mile per hour winds blowing out, not extreme, but enough to check weather to total for the total. Next game, Nationals at Orioles. And why it's worth looking into, rain plus a short favorite. RotoWire shows 55% rain at first pitch in Baltimore with hourly rain around 58% for the next 2 hours. RotoWire says no game is currently likely to be delayed or rained out, but this is still a weather volatility spot. Pitching and market note, MLB lists Foster Griffin, 8 wins, 2 losses, 3.15 ERA versus Brandon Young, 6 wins, 2 losses, 3.07 ERA, and covers has Baltimore opening around minus 119, now roughly minus 116 to minus 132. Similar starter profiles plus rain makes this game to inspect and not blindly trust a total under, but I'm looking at that one. I was thinking under. So anyways, next game, Astros at Tigers. Why it's worth looking into. Early game market check after Detroit's loud Friday result. Detroit blanked Houston 8-0 Friday. And today MLB lists Kai-Wei Teng, 4 wins, 6 losses, 4.03 ERA versus Framber Valdez, 4 wins, 5 losses, 3.91 ERA. Market note, covers open Detroit around minus 131, and current books show Detroit roughly minus 130 to minus 143. Not a huge move, but enough to check whether the market is chasing Friday's shutout or simply respecting Valdez. Next game, Yankees at Red Sox. Why it's worth looking into: rivalry tax plus brand name bounce back risk. Boston beat New York 6-1 Friday, and today MLB lists Garrett Cole, 2 wins, 2 losses, 3.62 ERA versus Jake Bennett, 1 win, 3 losses, 3.71 ERA. Market note: covers open Yankees around minus 117, and current books show New York roughly minus 124 to minus 132 at many shops. That's Yankees respect, but not overwhelming. Weather note: Fenway has 76 degrees Fahrenheit, 14% precipitation, 6 mile per hour wind blowing in, which slightly suppresses offensive early. Next game, Rangers at Blue Jays. Why it's worth looking into: Toronto is a big favorite because of the starter gap. MLB lists Cal Quantrill, 3 wins, 0 losses, 3.73 ERA versus Dylan Cease, 4 wins, 3 losses, 2.75 ERA, 118 strikeouts. Covers open Toronto around minus 192, and current numbers roughly minus 183 to minus 208. Market note: this may be correctly priced already, but it's worth checking because Texas beat Toronto Friday and the Blue Jays price is still heavy. Rogers Center is a dome, so weather's not a factor. Next game, Marlins at Cardinals. Why it's worth looking into: St. Louis is favored despite Miami just getting a strong win Friday behind Max Meyer. He improved 9-0. Today's pitching match is Ryan Gusto, 0 wins, 2 losses, 6.0 ERA versus Andre Palente, 9 wins, 4 losses, 3.59 ERA. So the Cardinals price is understandable. Market weather note: covers open Cardinals around minus 137. Current books are roughly minus 131 to minus 149. RotoWire shows 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 24% precipitation, 5 miles per hour wind blowing out in St. Louis, so the run environment is warmer and slightly hitter-friendly for today. That's right, warmer weather means more chances of home runs. Next game, Mariners at Guardians. Why it's worth looking into: Seattle has a clear starter edge on paper. MLB lists Logan Gilbert, 6 wins, 4 losses, 3.29 ERA, 100 strikeouts versus Slade. Ciccone, or Ciccione, has 2 C's, Italian name, huh? All right, 3 wins, 6 losses, 4.48 ERA, covers open Seattle around minus 144, and current number is mostly minus 142 to minus 161. Next game, we got Rockies Twins, and why it's worth looking into: starting pitcher mismatch, but likely priced into Minnesota. MLB lists Michael Lorenzen, 2 wins, 9 losses, 7.11 ERA versus Mike Paredes, 0 wins, 0 losses, 4.05 ERA, and covers open Minnesota around minus 137, now mostly minus 137 to minus 149. Weather note: target field has 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 2% precipitation, 13 mile per hour wind left to right. It's not a major delay risk, but the warm air and wind should be checked for totals. All right, and the last game, we have Athletics at Angels, and why it's worth looking into: it's a near pick'em with one ugly starter profile. MLB lists Jack Perkins, 2 wins, 3 losses, 6.26 ERA against Reed Detmers, 3 wins, 5 losses, 3.93 ERA, 104 strikeouts. Covers open Athletics, minus 102, Angels, minus 108, and current markets are still close to pick'em. Weather note: Anaheim is clean but slightly hitter-friendly, 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 0% precipitation, 9 mile per hour wind blowing out. This is not a top priority market unless we see some suspicious money movement. So that is a quick rundown of all the games. Now I will break down a couple of the games that actually stood out to me. All right, first game, first deep dive is Reds at Pirates. At first, I liked Cincinnati early because Chase Burns had a clear starter edge over Jared Jones, but once we added the full context, this became much thinner. The market had Cincinnati around a small favorite with money showing on the Reds. The run line also showed a sharp looking signal towards Cincinnati, but the score distribution did not support laying the run and a half because too many Reds wins landed by exactly one run. The weather in Pittsburgh was the biggest issue. Rain risk means starter interruption, bullpen usage, and timing uncertainty. That makes full game markets dangerous. The model gave Cincinnati about a 53.8% full game win probability with a fair line around minus 116. That's not good enough at a current market. The best raw angle was Reds' first five money line. The tie equals push. The model had Cincinnati leading after five about 45.8% of the time, tied about 19.4%, and Pittsburgh leading about 34.8%. On the tie push version, that produced a raw fair line around Reds' first five minus 132. But then the stress test changed everything. If Burns is 15% worse, the edge disappears. If Jones is better than the ERA, the edge disappears. If the Pirates' offense is truly stronger than Cincinnati's offense right now, the edge disappears. If the umpire lineup breaks the wrong way, the edge disappears. The current Reds' first five price around minus 125 is not good enough after stress. Playable would have been minus 110 or better. Pass price is minus 120 or worse. So our final decision, we're going to have to pass. This is a model edge only, not a true betting edge. All right, next game, Diamondbacks at Rays. The market showed sharp-looking interest on Arizona and the over. Tampa had a lot of public support, but Arizona had the more interesting money profile. The total also moved from 7.5 to 8.5, which means the best over value was likely already gone. The model projected Rays 4.71 runs, Diamondbacks 4.22 runs, with a total around 8.92. Full game Rays money line came out around 55.3% fair line, about Tampa minus 124, but the market was closer to minus 154 to minus 157. That's way too expensive. Arizona money line had a small model case, but not enough. The best raw edge was Diamondbacks' first five money line. Tie equals push around plus 160. The raw fair line looked closer to plus 125, which sounds good on paper. But here's the problem. Cabrera's MLB sample is tiny. His 0.00 ERA is not something we can blindly trust. If he is 15% worse than projection, Arizona first five moves close to fair line at the current price. That means the edge is fragile. Dome game, no weather edge, umpire not announced, lineups are still not fully locked. Tampa is public, but Tampa is not fake here. Minimum playable for Arizona first five would be plus 170. It's currently at plus 160, and that's not enough. Our final decision, we've got to pass. Again, model edge only, not a betting edge. All right, next game, Royals at White Sox. The side was not a clean edge. Chicago had just won 22-1, so the White Sox money line move had recency bias written all over it. The public and the money were both heavy on Chicago, which makes it hard to call the hidden sharp steam. The total was the sharper signal. The total opened 8.5 and moved down to 8, even though this skin showed heavy over attention. That is the kind of reverse line movement we care about. We are not betting the full game under because Kansas City's bullpen is too volatile. The cleaner expression is first five under 4.5 because it isolates Michael Wacha and Davis Martin and avoids the worst bullpen risk. The model had first five under 4.5 hitting about 60.9% with a raw fair line around minus 157. After stress testing, the fair range came down to about minus 125 to minus 135. That still leaves room if we get minus 118 or better. The disaster scenario is real. Weather in Chicago has not been helping the under. The run environment was hitter-friendly, and a 3-run first inning puts this bet in survival mode fast. If Wacha is 15% worse, the bet still has a slight edge. If Martin is 15% worse, it still has a slight edge. If both starters are 50% worse, the edge just completely collapses. Uh, and this is why this is not a full unit hammer. It is controlled disciplined bet. So, final decision, we are going to bet Royals, White Sox, first 5, under 4.5 at minus 118 or better, using half a unit. Next, we got Phillies at Mets. This game looked tempting because the Phillies had the better record and were still plus money, but the market was conflicted. Phillies' money line showed a strong money percentage, but the line moved against them in the same spots. At the same time, Mets minus 1.5 had a very weird big money signal. That means we do not treat the Phillies as a clean, sharp dog. The biggest correction was the starter. This was not the stale Senga screen. The sharper setup was Alan Ringel versus Christian Scott. The model made the game close to a coin flip. Phillies projected around 50.8% with a raw fair line around minus 103. At plus 118 to plus 127, that looks like value. But after stress, it just wasn't enough. Rangel's role was uncertain. His pitch count could be limited. Philadelphia's high leverage bullpen was not perfectly clean. Scott was an upgrade over the stale Senga information, and the market may have been respecting that. Yeah, Senga was originally supposed to play, but I guess they changed that out. Minimum playable on Phillies' money line would have been plus 135 or better. Current price was not enough to overcome the uncertainty. So the final decision, we're going to pass. This is one of the best examples of the day where plus money value showed up in the model, but the stress tests blocked the bet. So, yeah, I mean, Phillies are hot as of right now. It is against the Mets, but yeah, the numbers are showing something. So, I mean, play at your own risk, but unfortunately, I do have to pass on this game. All right, the last deep dive, we've got Cubs at Brewers. The market liked Milwaukee, and the model also made Milwaukee the more likely winner. But the price was the issue. The updated starter matchup was David Peterson versus Kyle Harrison. Harrison had the cleaner profile, and Milwaukee had the better full game setup. The model gave Milwaukee about 61.6% to win, with a fair line around minus 160. But the market was already minus 164 to minus 170. That means Milwaukee might be the right side, but not the right bet. The raw first 5 Brewers number looked interesting. Brewers' first 5 money line, tie equals push, had a raw fair line around minus 141 with the market around minus 120. But after stress testing Harrison's regression, that number dropped closer to minus 112 to minus 118. At minus 120, the edge is gone. The first 5 under also looked good on raw numbers, but the value was better before the market moved down. Under 8.5 was a stronger number. Under 8 at current pricing is too thin. So our final decision, we're going to pass. The Brewers are probably priced correctly. We do not pay a tax just to be on the popular favorite. All right, so our final card is only one official bet made it through the process. Royals, White Sox, first 5, under 4.5, minus 118 or better at a half a unit. Passes on Reds at Pirates, Diamondbacks at Rays, Phillies at Mets, and Cubs at Brewers. Guys, I know it might feel boring, but this is exactly how disciplined betting is supposed to look. The goal is not to have action on every good idea. The goal is to separate model edges from real betting edges. Today, only one bet survived the market read, simulation, price check, and stress tests. No edge, no bet. And that's the card for today, guys. So, again, I'm not responsible for any losses. This is for educational analysis and entertainment purposes only. Bet responsibly, stay disciplined, and never bet money you cannot afford to lose. If this breakdown helped you, like the video, subscribe to Edge Over Action, and drop a comment with the game you wanted modeled next. We do not need action. We just need an edge.